Tigers are under enormous pressure to make change. Mediocrity seems to have been the way at the joint venture for far too long. The fans are fed up. I'm sure the coaching staff and players feel exactly the same way. Tigers playmaker Benji Marshall has been told he's unwanted next year. That was the big news over the last couple of days, and he joins us now to discuss the club's future. Benji, good evening. Sorry to hear the news that was delivered to you this week.
Oh, thanks, mate.
But I've got to say, after 14 seasons, 253 games for the West Tigers, how hard was it to hear that you won't be at the club next year?
Yeah, I mean, a bit disappointing, Benny, but at the same time, you know, and when I left the Tigers the first time, I didn't think it was going to be a possibility of coming back and playing here again. So to come back in 2018 and play the last 2.5 seasons so far here, you know, signed on minimum wage with no expectations and just enjoyed it. And, you know, it's a dream come true to be back here. So I feel lucky that I've had this opportunity to come back now. Yeah, I would love to have retired playing at the West Tigers, and yeah, but due to obviously decisions that the club's made to move on, it's not going to be. So I feel like I might have to play somewhere else if I want to keep going.
Benji, after everything you have given the club, are you angry that they will not sign you for next year?
It's not angry, Paul. It's more of just, you know, wish I could have retired here, like I said just before, but. Yeah, if anything, I was just a little bit disappointed with the way I found out, reading in the papers. That was a little bit disappointing for me. Yeah, but I had a good chat with the coach, and he pretty much laid out where I stood, and I love the honesty and appreciate the honesty. And yeah, I can just finish the season, and then both parties can move on.
Well, we understand that once you were told that you were no longer wanted at the club next year, you went in and fronted Michael Maguire. Can you give us an indication of what the talk was like? I understand it was fairly... fairly honest?
No, it's pretty normal. All our conversations are always honest, Paul, and that's one of the probably best things we've had since playing under Michael. Is he's always been honest with me, and I've been honest with him. And yeah, obviously, when you hear about not being wanted through other sources that are not from the coach or the club, you want to find out if it's true or not. So I just went in there and asked if it was true or not, and yeah, he asked for 24 hours to give me an answer, and yeah, and the answer came back that obviously, through their statement today and roster management, that I won't be required. So, yeah, and that's part of playing first grade rugby league, Paul, is clubs have to make tough decisions, although they might be emotionally difficult. It's what they think's best for their future, and that's not going to be me. So we've just got to move on from it.
Hang on, Benji, did you just say that you fronted Michael Maguire yesterday to find out where he stood with respect to your future, and you found out today through the club's media release?
No. I said I found out in the paper from a Sydney Morning Herald article yesterday about what they were thinking, and then I asked. But I was saying from their release today about the reasons, it was roster management and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I'm not putting any blame on anyone.
Benj, as recent as last week, I was led to believe that you had an option there for next year. If you wanted to play, there was going to be a spot for you. Were you led to believe that was the case too?
No, it was probably just assumptions. Rules, you know, probably that's a bit of my fault. Yeah, and obviously because I'm not on a massive wage at the Tigers, I just thought, you know, making the decision at the end of the season would be fine because I'm not going to break the bank with the salary cap, you know. But, you know, squads are going to 28 next year, so the club's got 5 halves on their books next year, and there was no room for me. So, but that's, you know, I'm a big boy. That's part and parcel of rugby league. I've been in this position before, and now I feel like I still got a lot to offer in playing, and a few things I still want to do, so, you know, that's not going to be at the Tigers.
Benji, you mentioned Madge then. There's been a bit of talk in the last, well, it's been sort of a murmur for a while now that he's too tough, that the playing group don't react well to it. Has he still got the dressing room? Yeah,
he does, mate. And as a club, we haven't reacted well to the whole season because we've been inconsistent and haven't played well enough. And, you know, when obviously at the end of the season, they'll look at all the things that have worked and haven't worked, but you know, you can't blame the coach's actions on the way we've played. We just haven't been good enough as a club, and you know, everyone has to take accountability for that. It's not just the coach; it's the players and all the staff. And I guess that's what they're going to be searching for as answers. And they've started with that by me not being there next year, and there'll probably be more to come.
Benji, do you believe that the other halves at the club have been playing better than you, and that they deserve a contract more than you?
Oh, it's not about deserving or who's playing better or not. It's about who's on contract and who's not on contract. And the fact of the matter is I'm not on contract. So those guys are guaranteed there next year. And unfortunately for me, yeah, that means I move on. But all the halves that are at the Tigers, I love them, and they're good mates of mine. So I'm not going to bag them or say who's better or who's not better or who deserves it. But they're on contract, and that's what contract security does for players. Is even if you're not playing as well as you want, you've got security still for the next year.
Do you think there are people at the club earning money under false pretences?
I wish I knew what that meant, Kenny.
Do you think there's people getting paid for not providing the performance that they're being paid for?
I think we've all underperformed as a club. What you got to be happy with is when you get paid a salary is whatever you're prepared to play and whatever you sign for to play at that club, you're all expected to do the same job, whether you're on higher money or not. That's just how the club values you. But as a club, we've been underperforming. So I can put probably all of us in that bracket, maybe bar David Nofaluma.
So the club has clearly flagged that the current group isn't the answer, isn't going to be the roster that gets the West Tigers into finals. So they're looking to make change. You spoke to that in the release that spoke to your future no longer being at the joint venture. So if this roster isn't the answer, in terms of capability, where do you think the West Tigers need to improve on the paddock?
Yeah, I just think they need to be able to attract some bigger name players, guys who have played in rep teams, some leaders, guys from other organisations who want to be able to come to the West Tigers and be able to add to the success there or make it a better side. But I think the roster that's currently there now is probably still all going to be there next year, bar me and a couple of others. But it's going to be pretty much the same makeup. So they're going to have to work out how to get better somehow.
One of the reports, Benji, out of the meeting with the club the players and the coach on Monday was that the players complained that they were walking on eggshells. Why would they be saying that?
I don't think it was complaining about players walking on eggshells. One of the things Madge does do is he asks people for their feedback every week, and a couple of players thought that they were lacking a bit of confidence. And I just think the whole eggshells thing's being taken out of context. And what should happen in club meetings should stay there. But obviously this has gotten out. But that's been part and parcel of the West Tigers for a long time. That things always seem to get out suddenly.
Benji, those comments, the eggshells comments, sort of fuels that perception that the clubs and the playing group it's got a soft underbelly. It accepts mediocrity. That's the accusation that's labelled against that club at the moment. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair. I don't think we accept mediocrity. No one's accepting it. If anything, people are taking accountability. And the amount of training that I see during the week, how hard the boys train and how personally they take the losses, it's overwhelming how much the club means to the players and how they want to perform. And at the moment, we're not performing well enough as a team, and and that's what's been costing us. And again, at the wrong end of the table. But there's 8 teams in the competition who are going to be on the wrong end of the table, having the same conversations that we're having this season, and we're going to be one of those 8.
So Benji, you're leaving the club at the end of this season. They haven't made the final since 2011. Is it the players at the club, or is it the way the club is run?
Yeah, I think it's everything, a collection of the whole group not doing good enough, So I suppose everyone wants to have success, Kenny, and, sometimes that's hard to find. It doesn't come easy. Playing in the NRL is a tough gig, and I guess when you find the right balance of the right roster and the right staff, it seems to work. So that's going to be the challenge for them in the coming years.
Benji, why are you so keen to play on next year? And if you do, what are your options?
No options at the moment, Benny. I just feel like I've still got a bit to offer. I don't like talking myself up in terms of stats and that sort of stuff, but I feel like this year I've added a lot to our attack in terms of sort of try assists and that sort of thing, and had my challenges defensively, which I've been working on. But I feel like I can add a bit of leadership, a bit of mentoring to some teams, or and just add a bit of experience. So I'm just keen to play. And I actually rang Wayne today, Benny, and asked for a bit of advice about obviously playing on, and if he thought I could still play on. And he mentioned some good things about you're a long time retired, and if you still got the fire, you're the only person who can tell you when it's time to give it away. So it was great advice.
Yeah, it is good advice. Wasn't the stuff he gave me. I asked the same question at 26 and he said, yeah, you're done. Move on to the next chapter. But I just want to say congratulations on a wonderful 14 seasons with the West Tigers. You're a club legend. Thanks, there's still a bit to go. All the best finding the next contract, and thanks for your time tonight on NRL 360.
Cheers, boys. Appreciate it.
There he was, Benji